It's Friday, January 31. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus outbreak in China to be a global emergency after the number of cases spiked tenfold in a week. Speaking to reporters in Geneva on Thursday, the WHO Director General cited the spread of the virus between people outside China, which has been exported to more than a dozen countries.
For all of these reasons, I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern over the global outbreak of novel coronavirus. The main reason for this declaration is not because of what is happening in China, but because of what is happening in other countries. Our greatest concern is the potential for the virus to spread to countries with weaker health systems and which are ill prepared to deal with it. Let me be clear. This declaration is not a vote of no confidence in China. On the contrary, WHO continues to have a confidence in China's capacity to control the outbreak.
The Director General outlined several recommendations for governments across the world.
WHO doesn't recommend limiting transfer or trade and movement. We call on all countries to implement decisions that are evidence-based and consistent. WHO stands ready to provide advice to any country that's considering which measures to take. Second, we must support countries with weaker health systems. Third, accelerate the development of vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics. Fourth, combat the spread of rumors and misinformation. Fifth, review preparedness plans, identify gaps, and evaluate the resources needed to identify, isolate, and care for cases and prevent transmission. Sixth, share data, knowledge, and experience with WHO in the world. And seventh, the only way we will defeat this outbreak is for all countries to work together in a spirit of solidarity and cooperation.
To date, China has reported more than 7,800 cases, including 213 deaths. The Director General said the number of cases of the virus has been relatively low.
The number of cases in the rest of the world so far has remained relatively small. There are now 98 cases in 18 countries outside China, including 8 cases of human-to-human transmission in 4 countries: Germany, Japan, Vietnam, and the United States of America. So far, we have not seen any deaths outside China, for which we must all be grateful.
A declaration of a global emergency typically brings greater money and resources, but may also prompt nervous governments to restrict travel and trade to affected countries. Jamaica's National Influenza Center and National Laboratory gives the country the capacity to test for the coronavirus. So says the Pan American Health Organization representative to Jamaica.
Jamaica is very fortunate in having a National Influenza Center. And PAHO WHO up to the end of last year was doing training with the laboratory and the National Laboratory and the National Influenza Center. So we know that in terms of information systems and capacity, they were up to speed. WHO is expecting that we will be able to send the specific reagents to all of the National Influenza Centers within approximately 2 weeks. And then the local National Influenza Centers should be able to conduct the necessary tests locally. We'll also be sending the tests and the reagents to CARFA as well. So both the National Influenza Center here in Jamaica and CARFA will be getting those reagents at the same time, and they will have the capacity to test.
The Fitch Ratings Agency has affirmed Jamaica's rating of a B+ and revised the country's outlook to positive from stable. Minister of Finance Dr. Nigel Clark said this is great news for Jamaica as the country is making consistent economic gains that are reflected in the revision by Fitch of Jamaica's economic outlook to positive. In explaining the affirmation of the B+ ratings, Fitch notes that the high debt to GDP and low growth levels were constraining factors. However, prospects for growth have improved, and it is expected that growth will move steadily to 1.5% by 2021. Minister of Labour and Social Security Shahini Robinson says Jamaican workers participating in the United States agricultural and hospitality employment programs have generated upwards of an estimated US $300 million in earnings over the past 5 years. Additionally, she said the number of persons taking up jobs in both sectors has risen to an average of about 7,000 per annum. She was speaking during a recent awards dinner for overseas farm and hospitality workers at the Melia Braca Resort in Trelawney. Farm tourism has become an important value-added component of the industry and has a lot of potential for Jamaica. So says Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett in an interview with JIS. He is of the view that farm tourism is a niche market that must be pursued. He highlighted the point that farm tourism has been gaining traction in tourism circles with tour operators locally and internationally pushing the concept of from the farm to the table. According to Mr. Bartlett, food is a big hook for tourism, noting that 88% of travelers do so in search of food. Mr. Bartlett said the marketing team of the Jamaica Tourist Board is also acutely aware of the attractiveness of farm tours. And the tourism minister will provide additional details on the tourism pension scheme on Monday, February 3. Jamaica's tourism workers pension scheme, designed to cover tourism workers 18 to 59 years, is reportedly a landmark plan for tourism social legislation in the world, as it is the first of its kind to provide a comprehensive pension plan for all the workers of the tourism sector, whether permanent, contract, or self-employed. The Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, which will reportedly receive $1 billion in funding from the Tourism Enhancement Fund, will see benefits being payable at age 65 years or older. The Tourism Ministry says the scheme is the final piece in a 4-point human capital development plan to enhance Jamaica's tourism workers. The House of Representatives approved 3 emergency power resolutions for extension of the states of public emergencies, SOEs, for a further 90 days in St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Clarendon, St. Catherine North, and the South St. Andrew Police Divisions. The resolutions were moved by Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
I'm not proposing to give a presentation or even to in any way stimulate a debate on the matter. I believe we have had an extensive presentation from the Minister of National Security and a response from the opposition spokesman on security. I believe that that would satisfy any debate. So with that in mind, Mr. Speaker, I would ask you to then move for a vote.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said the SOEs are essential in curbing crime in the country, in particular homicides.
In the introduction of the special squads, we in fact reduced homicides significantly. In fact, in November, we had 19 days without any shooting or homicide downtown St. James. And in the last 12 weeks, we have seen a reduction from prior to SOE, it was above 4 per week. In the SOE, it is dropped to 3.98. It is now 2.5 homicides per week. 2.15. Overall, 2.15.
During the SOE, the security forces will have the power to search, curtail operating hours of business, restrict access to places, and detain persons without a warrant. It also gives them the power to stop and question persons, seize property, and control public gatherings and movements. Justice on the go. That's what the Justice Ministry is promising with the acquisition of 2 new additional mobile justice units. This brings the total mobile justice fleet to 3. The units were received through the Canadian government with a price tag of 420,000 Canadian dollars. Speaking at the handing over, the Justice Minister says the fleet allows Jamaicans greater access to information about their rights.
We want to, in accordance with the UNDP United Nations goal, to ensure that our people enjoy their rights and freedoms. So this bus will not only be offering legal services, but also information on their constitutional and human rights and freedoms. It's important that people know their rights.
Detainees at the Spanish Town Police Station lockup in St. Catherine have been relocated. The relocation follows reports of rodent infestation and overcrowding at the facility. According to the ministry, remedial works are to be carried out at the lockup. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang has reaffirmed the Government of Jamaica's commitment to improving police facilities island-wide. 19 police stations are currently being renovated. 24 have already been completed. Work on an additional 17 police stations is expected to start before the end of this financial year under Project ROC.
For fiscal year 2019-20, we're on target to complete renovations on some 43 police facilities. So far, we have completed renovation work on 24 police stations. 19 are currently in progress, and work is set to commence at another 17 facilities during the course of the next financial year.
Project ROC aims to convert police stations island-wide into modern, citizen-friendly workspaces, provide officers with a comfortable environment conducive for work, while creating the ambience for citizens to willingly and comfortably engage the police. There is concern from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, HFJ, that people who have preventable conditions that lead to renal failure are putting pressure on the limited dialysis resources in the country. Speaking at a JIS think tank session, Executive Director of the HFJ, Deborah Chen, explained that people with preventable kidney diseases are creating additional demand for renal treatment.
The reality is that the resources are limited in that area, and some persons may not be able to have the amount of dialysis per week that they require. So let us focus on prevention.
She pointed out that screening is available at health centers, the HFJ's Beechwood Avenue office in Kingston, and island-wide through its mobile unit.
You can also go to the government health centers and be screened for high blood pressure, and you can also see your private doctor. But whatever it takes, please get yourself screened and do not wait. And do not get up one morning and say, I feel like my pressure is okay, so I won't take my tablet today. You can't know it is asymptomatic. Kidney disease is also asymptomatic for the most part at the beginning of the illness.
Mrs. Chen pointed out that dialysis costs $12,000 to $15,000 per session, which is very expensive, especially when it is needed up to 3 times a week. 2 families have a new roof over their heads today. Local Government and Community Development Minister Desmond McKenzie handed over 2 houses to persons in Trelawney under the government's indigent housing program. Beverly Barnett of Penn Road in Stettin, along with Vernice and Lloyd Dell of Martha Bray, were presented with the keys to their houses at separate ceremonies in each community. Units have been constructed in Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, St. Thomas, Clarendon, and Portland under the initiative. Each house has been built at a cost of $1.8 million. Speaking at the handover ceremony in Stettin, Mr. McKenzie said the approximately 200 square foot units have been outfitted with a bed, refrigerator, stove, kitchen utensils, dining table, and other household items. On January 9, 2008, the government of Jamaica declared February Reggae Month. This was done to highlight and celebrate the impact of the musical genre on the country's social, cultural, and economic development. In addition, the Crown Prince of Reggae, Dennis Brown, and reggae icon Robert Nesta Bob Marley celebrates birthdays on February 1 and February 6, respectively. More on the 2020 Reggae Month activities from reporter Marlon Samuels.
Reggae Month celebrations will kick off on Sunday, February 2nd with a church service. Later the same day, an exhibition dubbed Jamaica, Jamaica showcasing photographs, artwork, audio recordings, and a video of true Jamaican music experiences opens to the public. A range of activities are planned for the week.
We are promoting a series during Reggae Month called Children of the Icons and Emerging Artists. Because if we don't prepare the future, then we will not be able to continue this great music. And so I want you to look forward to seeing these young performers. There's some really great performers that are emerging. Coffee is one such performer. And I want you all to go out and give them the support in February 2020 when we put them on the road and tour them across the country. Kingston is a creative city of music. Reggae music pulsates daily across Kingston with the rhythm and spirit of the people of Jamaica. And this is what we will celebrate in Reggae Month 2020. We have started building out Fort Rocky as an entertainment zone. Work has actually started, and we have identified other locations, a location in Negril, in Trelawney, and in Portmore, where we're going to build out facilities to host entertainment. You all know the issue of the noise abatement. So we are ensuring that there are facilities across the island where you can have your events. If you want to do it 24/7, you'll be free to do so.
To increase the promotion of Jamaica's music globally, the Reggae Month Secretariat commissioned a Reggae Month app. Persons wanting to know about the Reggae Month activities can download the app by searching the words Reggae Month Jamaica in the Google Play or App Store. The app is interactive and allows promoters to add their events to the list of Reggae Month activities. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Marlon Samuels.
Now for a roundup of other entertainment news, we now turn it over to Alicia Steele.
Hello, I'm Alicia. Welcome to PBCJ's Entertainment Recap. Now, tradition says that once it's January, you can still say Happy New Year. So have a great 2020, everybody. The year began with a bang. So let's do a quick recap of some of the shows and parties that brought us into this year and brand new decade. Kicking it off with the unruly King Popcorn with his show Unruly Fest, which took place in St. Thomas. Say what you want about Popcorn, but the man knows how to make an entrance. We come back to Kingston with Governor at the Jack Daniels Backyard Music Festival over on Caymanas Golf Club. We're having pure fun at Oversaw at the National Stadium and keeping it playfully yellow at the lawn over on the Constant Spring Golf Club. If you didn't know, by now Jamaicans can ring in a new year like nobody else. And the award goes to Coffee. The country is still beaming after the youngest and first woman ever to walk away with a Grammy for the Best Reggae Album at the 62nd Annual Grammy Awards in Los Angeles, held at the Staples Center. Her 2019 EP Rapture had a great contribution from Walshy Fire of Major Lazer. Along with her, these were the nominees: Julian Marley with his album As I Am, Sly and Robbie with Roots Radix with their collab album Sly and Robbie vs. Roots Radix, Steel Pulse with Mass Manipulation, Third World with More Work to Be Done. The Jamaican Basketball Association Vice President Marlon Natty gave his thoughts about former Los Angeles Lakers basketball star Kobe's sudden and tragic death. Natty said, "It was a sad moment in basketball history, and Kobe was one of the stars that the players idolized the most." Natty went on to say, "Kobe was a tremendous player who brought a lot of game, and it's unfortunate to see it end this way." Lights, camera, action. Homegrown actor Kevoy Burton is now set to be on the screens of a Nollywood film. The film will premiere in Ghana and Nigeria, and Burton's fan base is expected to grow exponentially. Burton was starred in local movies such as Get Alive, caught the eye of director and writer Marcia Weeks. She was so impressed with Burton's performance that she wrote a screenplay with him in mind for the lead role. Burton is to play the character Joseph alongside local actors Christopher McFarlane and Chantal Jackson. Media personality Kadeen Miss Kitty Hilton, Barbadian soca queen Alice Hines, and Grammy-nominated singer and songwriter Chantal Lane will also be in the film. Children advocate Diane Gordon Harrison wants convicted felon and self-proclaimed world boss Adidja Palmer, aka Vybz Kartel, knocked off his pedestal. The advocate says the research shows that the incarcerated DJ is idolized and throngs of children who are in conflict with the law. She was speaking at a conference of Seventh-day Christians on Sunday themed Save Our Boys, Save Our Nation. Gordon Harris urged parents, church, schools, and community stakeholders to seek out timely and sustained intervention for boys who are often both the victims and perpetrators of crime. She urged the audience to reject Kartel's brand of influence. Kartel is currently appealing his life sentence handed down in 2014 for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. He has always rejected being labeled a role model. In a social media post in 2016, he stated that, "I've been saying this since 2003, he wrote. If you want Vybz Kartel to be a role model for our children, then what kind of parent are you? You grow your kids, I grow mine. Okay? Okay. Out and about. If you always do road or you plan to do road this weekend, here are some of the upcoming events. Campari MVP Fridays, which is every Friday and it's free at 3A Trafalgar Road, New Kingston, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's happening. The Ray and Nephew Hard Wine, the ultimate soca experience, is also this Friday. Shout out to Air Candy Collection for my earrings, and thanks for watching. Remember, I'm your girl, Alicia. Walk good, and talk to you next Friday.
The US dollar on Thursday, January 30, ended trading at $140.92, up by 1 cent, according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily exchange trading summary. Meanwhile, the Canadian dollar ended trading at $107.10, up from $104.78, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $184.39, up from $182.28. In regional news, studies have indicated an increase in non-communicable diseases in the Caribbean as a result of nutritional deficiencies due to climate change. The study, done by Samuel Myers and Matthew Smith at the Harvard Department of Environmental Health, showed an increase in nutritional deficiencies from a decrease in quantities of zinc, iron, and protein in staple crops such as wheat and rice. Myers, who is also director of the Planetary Health Alliance, made the observation at the Caribbean Planetary Health Conference hosted by the University of the West Indies Faculty of Medical Sciences in St. Augustine, Trinidad. The 10-year study analyzed staple crops such as wheat and rice under high CO2 environments, which mimic the levels likely to be experienced by 2050 due to global warming. And we go to sports. The Jamaica Athletics Administration Association, the J3A's president, Dr. Warren Blake, said the postponement of this year's World Athletics Indoor Championships does not bode well for Jamaican athletes. This, he says, is because they will be missing out on valuable competition in what is an Olympic year. Athletics' global governing body made the decision because of the coronavirus, which originated in Wuhan, China, just over 330 miles away from Nanjing, where the championships were to be held. There are now over 6,000 reported cases of the virus in mainland China and 132 related deaths. While admitting that the postponement was inevitable because of the circumstances, athletes will have one less competition to fine-tune their preparations for this summer's Olympics in Tokyo. The REGGAE Marathon has been selected as a Caribbean qualifying race for the Abbott World Marathon Majors Wonder Age Group World Rankings. The Abbott WMM Wonder Age Group World Rankings, launched in 2018, will take place at the Virgin Money London Marathon in April 2020. In 2019, REGGAE Marathon, Half Marathon, and 10K also joined 4 other Caribbean marathons to form the 5 Island Challenge Race Series, sponsored by the Atlanta Life Insurance Company of the United States. The organizers of the 5 Island Challenge said the new challenge is to encourage distance runners from across the world to thread their way through the palm trees and beaches of the various islands while enjoying a fun runcation. There is still no definitive word on the condition of reggae girl striker Khadija Bunny Shaw. Shaw was injured in the game against Mexico on Wednesday night. She underwent medical tests at a nearby hospital following a clash of heads with a Mexican defender during their CONCACAF Women's Olympic Qualifier Group B fixture. Team Dr. Gillian Lawrence explained that while Shaw was responsive after the collision, protocols surrounding a possible concussion had to be followed as a precautionary measure. The Jamaicans, who are in 3rd position without a point, are now left to play catch-up if they are to secure one of 2 spots from the group to the semi-finals and remain in contention for qualification to the Tokyo Olympics later this year. And that's our package. From us here at the PBCJ, have a great weekend.